Chris speaks here today with Patrick.Mcwilliams, chairman of the GOP Baldwin County Republican Party. Here today with me to answer a few questions. Appreciate him coming on. Patrick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well today. Thank you for asking. It's a gorgeous day here in Spanish Fort.
Oh man, I bet it is down there. So tell me, how's it feel now that Baldwin County is kind of like a battleground for Republicans to get the nomination? I mean, it's a pretty important county for you.
Well, if we're talking about the Congressional District one realignment or just the redistricting in general, I would imagine that's what you're referring to.
Well, I just meant just
Um,
in probably as a whole, as a state, because Jefferson counties went more towards a Democratic side,
yeah,
and I've seen just a population boost there that usually where candidates would spend their time in Jefferson County, it's like they're more spending more time in my Baldwin. But
yeah, they really are, and there's a couple of reasons why. Let's talk about the 2022 midterm election. This Baldwin County voted 58% straight Republican ticket, and they voted over 75% Republican. So we're the reddest of red counties. You know the the standard of living down here is extremely good. So plenty of jobs. It's a really fast growing area. And plus we don't have a failing school system, so people are just coming here in droves. So it's only getting redder by the minute.
yeah, it's I've been a while since I've been down there, but it's a really nice area. Um, yeah, the redistricting, I still haven't even figured out where everything's going with that. What did you think of the map? I mean, was it as
Well,
fair
I
as it
think
could
it's
get?
ridiculous. I've been dealing with this, ever since the Supreme Court decision with Allen versus Milligan. I actually went and testified in front of the state legislator at at the second public hearing, and they took. There's a couple of things here that I want to bring out to your viewers. All right, this
Okay.
wasn't like a true 5-4 vote. Okay, it was more like a 4.75 to 4.25. They split so many hairs with this vote. Okay, and to get this thing done, it was ridiculous. All right. And realistically, for us down here in Baldwin County, let's just say coastal Alabama, all right, they took no, it, you know, it, they took nothing to account that we are a community of interest here. Okay. And the
Right.
way the map was drawn, they have Congressional District 1 now is all the way from Coffee and Houston County, in the Georgia Alabama line, all the way to uh, through Mobile County to the Alabama Mississippi line. So it takes
Oh,
you
wow.
yeah, it takes you about 3 hours to get across the entire district, east to west. And and I was in a Wiregrass last week, and they it's hard to say that we're all a community of interest because they're just what their industry is alone. They're more agriculture based. You got a major military installation there with Fort Rucker, now Novacell, okay, where they train all of the Army aviators. So it's the two biggest industries there. Where in coastal Alabama, you've got here in Baldwin County, you've got tourism, you've got agriculture, you've got a lot of real estate development going on over here. It's kind of like bedroom community for all of the manufacturing and heavy industry that is going on across the bay over in Mobile, like with Airbus, also with shipbuilding, a bunch of stuff. So, it's very hard to see how they came up, and Chief Justice Roberts, in his opinion, came up to say that no, you all are a community of interest, and we're going to lump you all together so we can make the second opportunity district. If there was ever a case of racial gerrymandering. This is it. The way they carved up and basically made this second opportunity congressional district.
My the thing that I couldn't figure out is when they said they needed another African American or Black district, is the populations are so concentrated in areas. I mean, I don't know how, except for the Black Belt. I mean, how do they go about? Is it supposed to go a certain percentage white versus black,
Right.
or
Yeah, they wanted it to get over 50%. That way, they felt that if they could get 50% over 50%, in this case, African American and Black demographic, then they could call that an opportunity district. So what they did is that they came down, all right, and carved out the northern section of Mobile County, Pritchard, the Mobile Central Business District, part of the Port of Mobile, and realistically, that whole area, which has been historically a black area, so they could basically get the math right for congressional district 2 being that second minority based opportunity district.
well,
It's
that.
crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That got me to thinking though, what's going to happen if one day, I mean, in Los Angeles we have an Asian community sued, or in San Francisco the gay
Yeah.
community
Well,
sues,
I
or
said the same. Absolutely, I said the same thing with Sacramento because Sacramento's got a very large Asian community, is the one that I used, and you're 100% correct. What do we do now? What do we do in Michigan? What do we do in Minnesota? Uh, just to name a few. I think this was a very bad precedent that was set by the Supreme Court, because now you're going to see all kinds of cases, and really what they're doing is that they're taking the Democrats basically want to take the gain the majority, so to speak, in the House of Representatives and take the voter out of the equation. So they feel if they can go and get these opportunity districts, with the razor thin margin, all they would have to do is maybe flip 6 or 7 seats, and then they've got a majority again.
yeah, it is as very thin as it is. Um, so I haven't really. Is there? Do you think that it's going to go to Black districts, or do you think?
No,
Um,
well, there are a couple of things here with congressional district 2. Just because you have that demographic, okay, and you're doing data modeling and say this is what the performance numbers are going to be, doesn't mean that everybody's going to come out and vote like you think they are.
right, right,
Okay,
yeah.
I think I don't, and Alabama as a whole uh, does not like it when big government comes down here and tells them what they have to do. And
Alabama's had a history of, even when state government has through the years has tried to tell them what to do. I grew up on cut my teeth on the Baxley Graddock's race, and I'm still good friends with Bill Baxley to this day. I mean, I love him to death, and talked to him earlier this week. But you saw what happened when uh, they tried to say Bill's going to be the nominee, and even to an extent, I think that in '94, I think when the ouster of Hunt played some sort of
I'm
sorry,
sorry, what?
sorry, I had a phone call coming in. I think in '94, the ouster of Guy Hunt played some part in Governor James um, winning that election over Folsom, because
Yeah, I believe
people
so.
don't
Yeah,
so
with Big Jim Folsom. Yeah,
so as chairman of is one of the biggest Republican counties. I want to talk to you about the legislature some.
sure.
It seems like we've got a trifecta now, but we get caught up on certain hot button issues, and it drags out. Um, we're not. Um, it seems like we're not getting bills done that are really bringing the state forward.
Okay.
Maybe I'm missing some of them. Um, like I'm for constitutional carry, but I thought that there's things that we could have worked on that didn't take up that much time of the session.
Right.
Um,
Just to go back to constitutional carry, I think the one thing I will say about that is that I am for it. Okay. If it was up to me, I'd have, two 6-shooter strapped to my side, at all times. But you have to think about it, from the law enforcement standpoint. I do know that down here, our sheriff was very concerned. And the reason being is because, as an example, all right, he wanted people to have a permit. Okay. And the reason being is that we live 19 miles. Me personally, I live 19 miles from the Florida, Alabama border on I-10.
oh
Okay.
yeah.
So you have to have a permit in Florida. Okay. If I cross that state line without a permit, okay, that's in violation of Florida law. So they do have a reciprocating
Mhm.
agreement, but still, I think that was part of the reason why law enforcement came out the way they did for it. It wasn't they were trying to keep, you know, hinder people's Second Amendment rights. It was more about, hey, we're trying to protect you just in case you cross state lines. So, and I think that was more of and I think that kind of got lost in a translation. And but still, I mean, hey, we've got constitutional carry. Everything is great. I personally carry a permit
I
because
do
every
too. I kept mine.
while I do run into Florida. So that way I'm legally carrying. I can legally carry.
And
So
the lieutenant governor came out pounding his chest over the which I agree shouldn't be a tax on groceries or medicines, but he came out pounding his chest because we cut 2 cents of grocery tax. I mean, how long is that going to take for people to actually see that? Couldn't we have cut taxes in a better way that
I,
people
you
could have
know,
seen it immediately?
well, I here's my thing with this. I have always been uh, against tax and any type of grocery. That's you don't have a choice. Okay, I
Hmm.
mean everybody has to eat. All right, so why
Right.
are you going to tax a sustainability item? And I just had a very hard time with the fact that we even had a grocery tax down here, and in some areas like here, it's 9.5, almost 10%. So
Wow.
because what they do is in this area, it really affects because of tourism.
Right. Okay.
Right. So they're looking at it from a revenue standpoint on a local level as well. Uh, so I think that, but still, you're right. I think there's other ways we can tax folks and not have not have it get sideways. And I believe that the way it's set up right now, they did do I think it was four straight off, 4% or four
Yeah.
cents or 4% straight off of it. Okay, and then it's going to zero out by 2026.
Okay.
So, and we all know what happens in 2026.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's funny how that all works out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can claim, hey, I zeroed out the grocery tax.
uh, yeah.
So anyway,
I don't know if this is something you can comment on, but I, I, I see him a lot of times. Almost it's like he's trying to undermine the governor. She'll say one thing and he'll say something else, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at she's got 67% approval ratings and ranked the eighth most popular in the governor. I'm like, in America, I'm like, is this the right move to be squaring off against somebody like this when you're going to be staring down the barrel of um
here's my thing with this. Okay, I'm all about debate. Okay, there's
mhm.
nothing wrong with having with having an open and honest discussion about, as an example, there's a debate right now as to whether we should fund Western Corridor on
Yeah, I've been
four lane
following that.
43 right now, or should we worry about expanding I-65? So, there's a debate right there. I'm all for a debate, just make it respectful. And I think that they have disagreed on several issues. And, but at the end of the day, they're still getting the work of, they're still getting a lot of things done in Alabama. I mean, are we always going to have our issues down here on the state level? Yeah, yeah. That's never going to go away. There is never going to be a perfect scenario. But you know what? We're not. May not be the richest state, but we're not having some of the problems that some of these other states up north are having either right
Good
now.
point.
So we need to be thankful for where we live, the fact that we have a legislator that we can work with, all right, and is going to listen to the people. That is one thing that, and I've lived all over the country, and and all over the world when I was in the Navy. But the biggest thing that I will tell people is that you have access down here to your elected officials like nobody else does in America. Okay, I preach that to everybody here in Baldwin County. You can call up, you could call up your state senator, you could call up, your state representative, and they're going to talk to you. All right, they're all the state representatives in Baldwin County. I know personally, I could, and I'm not saying this. Let's just say I wasn't the county party chairman down here. They would still talk to me. Okay, if I have an issue, constituent services are extremely good in the state of Alabama. I mean, we really do. They really do try to take care of people down here, and I think that's something that a lot of states have really disenfranchised all of their people and all of their citizens. Just look at what's going on in places like Illinois or even Michigan or Wisconsin or a lot of these states that are now blue. All right, there's a lot of license plates coming down here from the Midwest, and they're not all even either. Okay, it's not just the snowbird population that's coming here. All
Yeah,
right, it's people moving here because they see the writing on the wall with failed policies in the states that they're living in currently.
yeah. You mentioned something about the debate going on about the interstate and the West Quarter. Uh, Birmingham Mayor Woodfin, he proposed a speed rail or something. I guess that's what they call it, from Mobile to Huntsville. What would you think about that?
I think it's the dumbest idea on that I've heard yet. Okay, because tell me where uh, a speed rail is going to be beneficial between Birmingham and the Gulf Coast.
See, my
That
thinking
is
was it'd
a
be better from Birmingham to Atlanta than it would ever be from
well,
Mobile
okay, Birmingham to Atlanta. I just don't see where
to.
it's really going to be that cost effective. I really don't see where the return on investment is on that. I mean, let's take a look at outside of our freight rail that we have. All right, Amtrak is, as an example, Amtrak has been subsidized for Lord knows how many decades now. All right, and it has never been profitable, and but we keep it. And I think I think there's better things we can spend transportation dollars on.
Yeah, because once you get past Birmingham, I mean, till you get to the coast, you're driving for hours, and there's just, I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, there's nothing. Um, so, what about, I keep seeing this fight right now going on with the medical marijuana bill that was passed. Is that a done deal now, or are they still?
The problem that they're having with this thing is that nobody wants to hand out a license.
Okay.
They're terrified of handing out a license right now, and I think finally they've got it to where they're actually going to start issuing some license. And then we'll go from there. Gosh, I mean, that is one problem. Sometimes, we don't like to come into 2023. We're still living 2 decades behind everybody. with
You know,
certain social issues. I think right now let's just get it done.
so
Issue the license, regulate it, and tax it, take some tax revenue off of this, and do it the right way.
So I'm for the whole like Colorado. Let's go ahead and legalize and tax it. And I interviewed Elijah. I mean, I just I interviewed Elijah Boyd, the guy who contested the Senate seat the other day in Hunts, in Huntsville. So I was
Right.
at, he's a libertarian, so I asked him about it, and he's like, "Well, it led to the fact he'd be against legalizing it, just tax it." And I'm like, why would why are you just gonna keep I mean the criminal justice system, the money that's going into there, and why wouldn't you legalize it, if you could make taxes off of it? Because, well, I'm against taxes. I'm like, that you still gotta have, that just made no sense to me, just to keep it illegal to, not tax it.
Well, I mean, let's look at Tennessee, and let's look at moonshiners back in the day. I was just up in on vacation, and we went one day into Gatlinburg, and there's moonshine distilleries all over the place. And my stepson, he went, he's 25 years old, and he went in there and he bought 3 bottles of the moonshine, perfectly legal, it's taxed, everything else. But back in the day, all right, that was the biggest thing. It wasn't a fact that people were, that were making moonshine illegal. What really got into it was, if you take a look at who was going after moonshiners, it was the revenue. It was people that, it was law enforcement for state revenue. Okay. And I put this in the same boat as that. I think eventually what's going to happen is that, and it's going to be throughout all of the states. It's not going to stop. You're going to see more states that are going to legalize it. It does come with its own set of problems, um, social problems that we have to deal with. I've been to Colorado for work many times, and I was actually out there one time during 420 and didn't realize it. Um, that was interesting. But anyway, with that said, I think it's going to happen at some point. This is where I think, I mean, we already have alcohol. Okay, in certain states, they've like I said, Tennessee is an example. They legalized, moonshine operations, and they're taxing it. Let's the same with marijuana. Just let's just go ahead and tax it. Right now, it's for medicinal purposes here in the state, but when is that day going to come where they're going to do it, for recreation? I couldn't tell you. Um, it could be a decade or two down the line. Like I said, things do move slow here when it comes to what people see as a moral issue.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, like I said, I agree with you. It's going to come eventually. Um, I'm glad to see more and more Republicans admitting to that fact. That, hey, let's go ahead and tax it, and just make money off of it. And obviously, we don't want people a bunch of people walking around stoned all day. But I mean,
no,
um,
that's what I said. It comes with its own set of social problems, just like alcohol does. Uh, so realistically, I don't see where this is ever going to go away.
no,
Um,
I don't. I mean, I can remember back in, I think it was '96, when California first passed the medicinal marijuana bill. I think it was then, and
yeah.
I knew then it was a matter of time. It seems like the last, God, I can't remember how many years now. 5, 6, 4, 4, 5, 6, that we've had a lottery bill come up in the legislature, and it usually fails by one vote. And it's like they have this thing lottery set up, and the money's just going everywhere except for education. Are they ever going to get it set up?
Well, I think there's a couple of things here. And this is where the rubber meets the road in my eyes. You have Porch Pan Creek Indians that you basically want lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. the what they call the VLT, or the video lottery teller machines, meaning the slot machines, blackjack machines, stuff like that. They want the exclusive rights to it. They don't want people like Victory Land, or, gosh, I forget the one that's up north. But they want the exclusive rights to that. And there's a problem with that because, Porchman Creek Indians, because everything is on a reservation, they have not paid dime one in taxes. Now, they've done a lot for local communities. I will say that they've helped out down here in city of Mobile. I know with the Exploratorium, they took that over and actually made that profitable. So they will come in. They have done some ventures. I don't want to speak ill of them, but getting back to the crux of the issue here is that they have such a stranglehold on the legislator as far as that's concerned, in my opinion. Plus, there is a very conservative movement, especially in the northeastern part of the state, where they just don't believe in gambling, and they feel that it brings a certain urban illness and level of addiction to it, to where you see some of the things that are going on in Biloxi. But you know, personally, I think we are missing the boat here. We've well, that brings out the other thing is that there's a lot of money that's flowing in here from Mississippi that doesn't want to see it. Mississippi does not want to see us get lottery and gaming. Okay, because that's going to take away revenue from them.
A
All right,
lot.
they like having coastal Alabama drive an hour to go, put money in a slot machine, or go see a concert over at the Hard Rock or something like that. We do that over here, and we get more venues, and you get more licensed, casinos in here. That's not going to play well for them. So I think there's a lot of factors in it. And it's not so much the Senate that I think is the issue. It's getting it through the House of Representatives that seems to be, where this thing stalls out.
Well, tell me if
And
I'm
I
wrong,
don't
but it
know what
seems
the
like the
I
the,
don't
the
know what the secret sauce, or what the magic, what magic's got to happen in order to get this thing passed through the House. That's really, I think, where the roadblocks are. And
and tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like if I remember, like the last three, the last couple ones they put up, they've got like, instead of it being an education lottery and the money going there, then they've got certain funds diverted to go here and certain
right.
funds diverted to go here, and like everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar, and it's not it's not set up to where it's supposed to be. I mean, um,
Yeah, it was supposed to be. You're absolutely right. It was supposed to be just the Education Trust Fund, or the ETF, but they got close with it a few years ago. Okay, and then some of these legislators are like, no, we want to see it go 50-50, because there were some pet projects that they wanted to see that were going to be general fund related, that they wanted to see it happen, and they figured this would drive enough revenue to where they could get whatever project is in their either in their House district or Senate district that would fund it. And I don't think do I think we're going to see it this coming? I don't know. I think it's 50-50. Or and the other thing is that even if it does pass, okay, we're going to have a statewide referendum on it. It's going to be
mhm.
voted statewide, and that's anybody's guess as far as how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I would be yeah, I don't know how that would play out either. I mean, I would vote for it. Just, I mean, if they got it right, the first time I voted against it because that was set up back in '99. But I would vote for it this time just for simple reason that every time I go to Georgia or go to Tennessee, there's Alabama dollars there, and
Yeah,
I understand it's a regressive tax, or
yeah,
it's a tax on people, but I mean, if you're going to spend it, I'd rather still spend it in Alabama. So just a few more questions for you. I'm not going to keep going. Um, I remember reading, and it may have changed now, that Alabama at one time was spending like 25th or 26th dollar, ranked 25th, 26th what we spent on education, but we seem to never rise up. Do you know why we can't seem to ever get ahead?
Here's I this is something that is just kind of floored me. All right, because I went to high school and college in Baltimore, and my God, we're seeing right now, they were on the news last week as far as with their math scores, that they have failing math scores at all 13 of the high schools inside of Baltimore City. Not one student was able to pass the state required testing. So, but let's backtrack to us. All right. I don't necessarily think we are 47th, even 45, I think is what the last number I heard was in the entire country. I just find that just so hard to believe, with even with some of these rural areas, as far as the testing is concerned. I think it's more along the lines of, you start taking a look at some of these larger school systems and the problems that they're having, whether it's Montgomery County school system, or Jefferson County, and or Mobile County. And I hate to say it like this, but you're dragging down the rest of the state. Uh, because some of these rural school systems, or even,
Okay.
I think is really what's driving it. Is really what's driving it. And realistically, what needs to happen is that, one, I'm a big fan of school choice. I think school choice really does need to happen, because I think what that's going to do is that that's going to be a competitive. It's going to get some of these kids out of a failing school, which really I believe is you know paramount to breaking a cycle of a kid, especially in probably in like in an urban area. All right, if we can get them into a better schools scenario, that I think it's really going to help them as well. Now, there's the Democrats don't want to see it. The AEA doesn't want to see it because, and this is one thing I will say about this. Okay, I went to all three public hearings with this school choice bill this last, the last here in the 2023 session, the last session. AEA and the people that were against school choice, not one of them talked about how it would be detrimental to the student. Every one of them talked about, don't take our money away. It was all, their entire argument was all about the money. That not one of them mentioned anything about the kid, or about the student, or about the child. And what got me is that, and this was what wild is that they had a superintendent from a town that broke away from a county school system, and they decided to go out on their own. Well, he got up there in defense of basically opposing the school choice legislation, and I'm like, dude, I was like, your town, all right, and your city council decided that they were going to break away from the entire county school system. You already had your school choice, but you're sitting here telling everybody else that no, we can't, you can't do that. And I was like, sit down. All right. You're making yourself look ridiculous. And that's really, I think, the biggest thing that, we have to look at, because, I'm looking at it from also from, like I said, I'm originally, I spent, uh, my high school, junior high, through high school and college years in Baltimore. And my parents sent myself and my sister to private school, and it was a real struggle for them, for a middle class family, because they knew that the public school system was never going to be. And this was over 30 years ago. 35 years ago, the school system back then was horrible. So this is a systemic problem. And I think we're seeing it in these larger cities. All right, and it goes back to failed, some of these failed programs. All right, and I'm just not a big fan of Common Core and standardized testing, because where has it really gotten us?
I understand. Okay, just a couple more questions for you. What do you think is the most important thing, or the legislature should work on in the session that's facing the state? What's the biggest problem?
I think, like I said, I think school choice needs to pass. I also think we need to get that ballot harvesting bill uh, that Senator Garland Gudger pre-filed. I think that uh, really needs to happen. We need to have that in place before the general election.
Okay.
Now that we've got these opportunity districts, don't think that voter integrity is not going to be looked at hard in the new congressional district too. And before we get to the general election uh, here in 2024, I want to see that ballot harvesting bill make it through both houses and pass and signed by the governor.
I would too, because I tell you, I hate to sound like a conspiracy, but there's just something about those machines I just don't.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this about the machines. Okay, for for your viewers is that Secretary of State Wes Allen has done an incredible job with trying to really lock down voter integrity since he's taken office. None of these machines, the voting machines, are online. They're not phoning home to anywhere with any type of data. Okay, and the other thing is that he did away with the mobile app for voter registration. So I think those were two big things. To keep the shenanigans down to a minimum, if not at all. So I think as opposed to just other states, we are in a heck of a lot better shape than some of these purple states like Arizona, where I question some of the things that went on there during the midterms. I still question some of what happened during 2020.
Oh,
County, what happened in Michigan. I mean, there's just
I watched
that unanswered
Wisconsin too.
questions.
Wisconsin. I'm
There's too
sorry,
many.
Wisconsin too. I'm sorry, I
Oh,
didn't interrupt
Wisconsin
you.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen where
Yeah.
they went back and audited, and they figured out that the Secretary of State allowed 200,000 people to vote illegally in a
Right.
state that's counted by 20,000 votes.
And
Um,
I don't necessarily want to see a national voting database. I think that's the wrong way to do it. I believe that's a states' rights thing, and that's what that's what our founding fathers wanted to see when they put that in the Constitution. But at the same time, you got to have voter integrity. I think that's going to be. I think voter integrity is probably going to be the number one issue that's going to be here, especially now that we've had open borders and over 8 million illegal, uh, undocumented people walking in. And some of these people can just walk in and in some of these blue states and just sign up and vote, and we know nothing about them. So as opposed to where you have to have a state ID here in the state of Alabama, so a state issued ID, which I think is very good. That's the way it should be.
okay, so just two more for you. And you know, God forbid, the governor's health stays well. But next time we should have some heavily competitive races. I mean, and maybe you can't say anything, but I mean, I've heard that the governor's race could be Ainsworth, Twinkle, Marshall, and John Merrill. um,
Well, I'll
with
tell you this: the bench is
uh,
deep.
and the mayor battle. I mean,
Tommy
I've heard,
Ballard, yeah.
yeah, lieutenant governor's race could be Andrew Sorrell and Wes Allen, and I mean, there's could be some um, wide
Some of
open.
those names, some of those names you said, are personal friends of mine, and I just, I don't see them jumping in that race. There was, as a point, there was a Wes Allen. There was talk about him running for the new congressional district 2 seat. Wes has got no aspirations whatsoever. Wes Allen wants to be the best Secretary of State that he can be. Okay, and the same with Andrew Sorrell. I mean, Andrew's gonna be the state auditor, and he's really doing a great job with that since he took it over. He's definitely done some good things. Got some funding that he needed in order to make sure that state's property is accountable and be able to pay people to do that.
I've interviewed Andrew. I've
So I
interviewed
just don't
Andrew.
see where but still, you got like I said, the bench is deep. There's going to be a lot of people that you're going to see jump in this thing. I really don't know. And I think another one, just to throw this out there, another one you may want to consider for lieutenant governor is Barry Moore. Barry Moore hasn't,
Yeah.
he has not come out as of 142 here on Tuesday. He has not said whether he is going to throw his hat in the ring for the new congressional District 1.
Me and somebody else
So,
was talking about him for a state that he may
yeah.
be eyeing a statewide office. And when we cut filming, there's something that I want to tell you. And last question for you. You seem like a open-minded man, well-spoken, um, free thinker. Any political aspirations on your end?
Everybody has asked me that. It goes, when are you going to run for office? And this is my answer. Okay, when it's that will be a decision that the good Lord will let me know when it's time. He will show himself to me as far as whether he wants me to run for public office or not. Right now, I'm just trying to be the best county chairman in the state of Alabama that I can be. And I had that talk with a friend of mine this morning, as a matter of fact, and it's like, let's not put the cart before the horses. I just want to be really good at where I'm at right now.
Patrick, thank you for your time. I enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you, and yeah, great questions. Loved it. Have a good day.